Hello, bookworms. Oops, I made my headphones. Okay, let's try that again. Hello, bookworms. It's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm, and welcome back to my channel. Let's see. So what we're going to do today is I am just going to organize my Goodreads shelves. I'm just trying to situate my different screens first. Okay. So this is a new thing that I'm trying. I haven't done this before, but I need to organize my Goodreads shelves anyways. So I figured it would be fun to do it live, especially if I can get some people to watch it while I'm doing it and then like give me their opinions on books and tell me whether I should read something or if I should just like not even bother reading it. So I'm definitely interested in your opinions. So feel free to like type it into the chat when it comes up. I don't like how I'm seeing my chat right now. So we're gonna try something different. I hope you guys are having a good start to the week. I have had a crazy Monday. Just a lot of adulting. I went to the DMV this morning and then I spent like 3 hours at the DMV. That's always the worst. And then I had a full day of work and I had to make some like phone calls for my husband and I are getting ready to buy a house in August. And so I had to like make some phone calls to different mortgage companies. I did a lot of adulting. So I'm definitely ready and excited to just organize some Goodreads shelves. Let's see. Okay, so I need to share my screen. And I want to share this screen. Hey, on the Fritz. Good to see you. Ooh, hi, Sashana. Today was like 2 Mondays in one. That's funny. Okay. But how do I? Okay. So I need this one in front. This is a lot of screens to juggle, guys. Oh, but you want that as big as, okay. You can see that. And then what does this button do? Okay. Oh, okay. I think now you can see me. Maybe. All right. Now I want the other screen. Where'd it go? Oops, not that. Right here. Okay. Okay, so what I did yesterday, just like to prep myself for today, was I went ahead and updated, like I hadn't put any of the books that I had read this year on any shelves, and I hadn't created a read in 2018 shelf. So I did all of that and I kind of got everything up to date. And I figured we would start with just going through like the books at the top of my TBR and then go down from there. So, oh, and for those of you who aren't familiar with my shelving system, I just recently did a video about it, just explaining what my different shelves are and how I use them. I have a sort of complex shelving system. And so if you want an explanation of how it all works, definitely check that out. But we're going to start with the must-read. Nope, TBR up next is my highest TBR shelf. Man, it doesn't look like you guys can see my face, which I really thought you'd be able to. Let me see if there's like a setting I can change. Hide participants, show participants. I want to show me. Anyways, okay. So starting with my highest ranking shelf, which is my TBR up next. Oh yeah, this is definitely out of date. So I had originally put Light Between Oceans on this shelf because at some point it was I have a work book club that I'm a part of. Sorry, I was still trying to figure out how to show myself. I don't know why my camera's not on. I don't know if maybe Hangouts isn't set up so you can show your face while you're presenting, but that's kind of a bummer. I'm gonna have to look into that and see if there's something I can do about it. Okay, I have a workbook club, and at the the last summer, one of the books that was chosen was Light Between Oceans, and I had it out from the library, so that's why it was on my TBR Up Next shelf, but I didn't read it. I'm not really all that interested in reading it soon, so I'm just gonna put it on, I think my probably shelf. Like, I think I'll probably read that one day. So I can move that there. Actually, what I want to do is open each of these in their own tab and then do it from here. Because there's a few other to look at whenever I am assigning these, and one of them has to do with rating, what this rating bar situation, bar graph looks like. Okay, so there's this. That is good. I like to see that. Oh, it was a 2012 Goodreads Choice Award winner. Awesome. This is historical fiction. Do I have my genre shelf for historical fiction? And it's on my audiobook shelf because I did attempt to listen to this on audio when I got it from the library. I listened to like 10, maybe 15 minutes of it. And the narrator, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who like this narrator, but I had such a hard time understanding this narrator when he was talking. So I do not recommend this one on audio. And I think that's good. All right, so TBR probably. I think that fits. And then Now I Rise. This is definitely high on my TBR. I think I will keep it on my TBR up next. Ooh, look, this is mostly 5 stars. So I'm going to come down here and mark that as mostly 5 stars. I have an arc of this, a physical arc actually, that I got from Y'all West last year. And I thought I was going to read it right away, and I didn't. So the new book, the 3rd book in the series, is coming out soon, and I want to read this one so I can read the next one. Okay, so that one can stay on my Up Next shelf. And I try to keep like 5-ish books on my Up Next shelf at a time. I try not to make it too much. This one also is pretty high on my TBR, so I think I'm going to keep it on my on my Up Next shelf. Let me see. What are the rating details? Mostly 5 stars. Well, that is quite exciting. Have any of you guys read Crooked Kingdom yet? I don't know what has taken me so long. I pre-ordered Crooked Kingdom, and I still haven't read it. But I do have the beautiful first editions with the stained pages. I love me some stained pages. I am going to mark audiobook for this one because I've heard that it's good on audio. I haven't listened to the first one, but the idea of a full cast of characters is really intriguing. I don't think I've ever read a book that had a full cast of characters. Sorry, I'm reading some of y'all's chats. Yes, I still need to read Crooked Kingdom 2. Obviously, I just said that. Oh, yes, On the Fritz. I also enjoyed Anti-Darken. I actually reread Anti-Darken on audio last year because I was preparing to read the sequel. And the audiobook is really good. But then I didn't read the sequel. Maybe I can get the sequel on audio too from my library. And then, okay, The Enchanted. So this has been on my TBR for a really long time. But, oh, I know what happened. So this went up on my up next because I actually bought it on ebook and audiobook. Like Amazon was having one of those deals, and I am such a sucker for this. Whenever they have a deal where you buy the ebook and the audiobook together, then you get it at a like super discounted price. Those deals always get me because audiobooks are just so expensive, and I love listening to audiobooks. And so when you can get it really cheap and get the ebook, because when you buy them both through Amazon, then you do like they do the audio syncing thing where, you know, you read to a certain place and it'll sync your audiobook to that place and vice versa. So I got sucked into one of those, and I bought this book because it's been on my TBR forever. However, I don't think I'm going to read it really soon. So I'm going to put it on my must read soon just because I do own it and I can read it like quickly, or, you know, as soon as I decide to read it, it's available to me. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to read it like next. All right, so now I have to go down to, actually, let me think about what books should be on my up next shelf, because there are books that I am planning to read soon. So, okay, I'm currently reading, in case you're wondering, I'm currently reading Fate of the Tearling, which I am loving so far. I like read so much of it over the weekend. Kayla from On the Fritz asked if I have an owned bookshelf. I do not have an owned bookshelf. I don't keep track of what books I own and don't own. I don't own very many, and most of the ones that I own are ones that I've already read. I've thought about making an owned shelf, especially for like ebooks and audiobooks that I buy, because it's really easy for me to lose track of those, but at this point I don't. So I'm currently reading Fate of the Tearling, and I also just started Lifelike yesterday or the day before by Jay Kristoff, his new release. And that one's pretty good too so far. I wasn't sure at first when I was first reading, like the first 10%. It's a sci-fi, and there's a lot of like lingo to pick up on. Like they all speak very differently. But once I got used to that, the storyline has definitely picked up a lot, and I'm enjoying it. But after that, I need to read Seven Eves. And I don't actually know if this is even on my shelves already at all. But Seven Eves is a science fiction book, Seven Eves. And it got picked for my next work book club. Yeah, so I don't even have it on my shelf yet. So it needs to go on my up next shelf. And then another thing to go on my up next shelf is the next book in the Wheel of Time series, which is called Lord of Chaos. Is that the next one? I think it is. Okay, maybe I need to have an owned bookshelf. It just seems like so much work to catalog like the books that you own, but I'm sure, I mean, it's like a one-time thing. Once you buy it, you put it on the shelf and it's done. Oh, and that would be like a fun thing to do, because I'm thinking about doing these live streams once a month, and then like at the beginning of the month, I can just start with looking at the books that I bought and adding them to a shelf. Okay, so I want to move this to up next because I am going to read it soon. Let me just open it. Just want to check the rating here. So nothing needs to be done with that, although I do want to put it on sci-fi. I'm trying to be as like systematic as I can, because the problem with all these like extra shelves that are like not exclusive is that I always forget to update them. So mostly 5 stars. This is fantasy, and it's also a reread, or will be a reread, and I'm going to listen to it on audio. Yeah, that's all I need from that. Oh, and actually, I'm also going to listen to this on audio because this one I also got sucked into a deal where you buy the audiobook and the ebook together, and it was cheap over like a year ago. So when it came up as part of my Goodreads, not my Goodreads, my workbook club, like it was picked for my workbook club, I was excited because I already owned it. Because sometimes, you know, we pick popular books and it's hard for me to get them from the library in time. Like the last workbook club we did, blank screen. Okay, guys, so I started a new Hangout. Hopefully you can find me again. Let's see if I can get the screen sharing to work. I didn't test it before I started the new broadcast. Oh, looks like that's working. Sweet. Okay, we are back in business. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. It just stopped working. But now it's working, and let's, I guess, get back to organizing. What do I want? This one. Okay, my books. And then I need this smaller. Yeah, I went back into the old one and like started it again, but it wouldn't let me go live. It said that the broadcast had ended, and it didn't give me an option to actually go live. So I had to start a new one. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully everybody can find their way here. Ugh. Okay. So I was talking about how, like, my book club, I was really happy that we ended up with Seven Eves because I already owned it, which was nice. And what's one more book that I'm probably going to pick up in the near future? Probably, you know what? Probably Sky in the Deep, because I received that as an ARC that I didn't read, and now I also have it out from the library because I thought maybe that would make me read it. So I should read it soon. In the Deep. Have any of you guys read Sky in the Deep? It's a new release that came out, in April? And it's like Viking inspired, which is super intriguing to me. I think it's fantasy. I'm not sure if there's actually magic or not, but I think so. Breathe fire. Yeah, there's probably some sort of magic, right? Oh, this is also mostly 5 stars. Although new releases, I'm a little hesitant with the mostly 5 stars thing, just because, you know, when new releases come out, they tend to get a lot of good reviews, and then over time is when they accumulate the less enthusiastic reviews. Let's go with fantasy, and this, I don't know, I'll have an ARC, but I also have a finished copy from the library, but I'll mark it as an ARC anyways. Okay, so then let's go to my must read soon, which I try to keep this around 20 to 30. And I mean, these numbers that I'm keeping on my shelves is pretty arbitrary, but it just helps me like not get overloaded on, you know, some shelves. These are in order of date added. Okay. So you'll find that a lot of the books on this must read soon shelf are sequels to series that I am currently reading. So I have recently started the Witcher series. Earlier this year, Elliot Brooks was doing a read-along of the series. I'm not sure if she's still doing that, but I got behind on the read-along anyways. I did read the second book last month, I think. Well, I guess now it's June. So I read it in April, and it was pretty good. I haven't loved these books as much as I wanted to love them, because the first 2 books in the series are told in like short story format, and I just think that doesn't work very well for me. But this 3rd book is supposed to be a typical novel, so I do want to read it, but I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it. I'm not in a huge hurry. And then this is the 2nd book in the Sword of Truth series, which I read the first one in January. So I'm going to leave that there to remind me, although I'm supposed to be doing all these other shelves too. So let's see. Rating details. Ooh, mostly 5 stars. I'm not sure I expected that. Oops. Have you guys ever read Witcher books or played the video games? I'm really interested in trying the video games. I try some of the video games. I read the next one because I think if I like get to know the characters a little bit better through the video game, I might enjoy the book more. And the storylines are sort of related. And also, I didn't mention that I listened to the last one on audiobook, but I definitely recommend the audiobooks for these. The narrator was really good. And, oh, I think I forgot to do a fantasy shelf on the last one. Oh well. Fantasy, also all 5 stars. Or not all, but mostly 5 stars. I probably will listen to this on audiobook too. I listened to the last one on audio and it's pretty good. The Well of Ascension. I have a buddy read plan for this, and we planned it like months ago, and neither of us have really taken the time to actually do the buddy read. I think I would like the audiobook, so I went ahead and marked that. And it's fantasy, and let's take a look at the ratings. It's also mostly 5 stars. And I read the first book in the series, Mistborn, or The Final Empire, I think in January, and I really liked it. I mean, it didn't surprise me. I'm a Brandon Sanderson fan already, but I hadn't read the Mistborn series. So I definitely want to get to this. I'm hoping in the next 3 months that I will read The Well of Ascension. I just moved that book to a different shelf. Here, let's refresh this. What? Thought I put this on the up next shelf. Maybe I didn't. I want it to be up next. Okay. Ooh, The Empress. This one, I would like y'all's opinion on. If anybody has read it, please let me know. I was a little iffy on the first book, reading it, but I wasn't sure if I really wanted to read the second book. But at the same time, it's just a duology, so I'm trying to finish up some series that I'm in the middle of. So I feel like this would be like an easy one to finish because it's only one more book, and I did enjoy the first one. I just didn't love it. Like if it was longer than a duology, I don't think I would continue, but it is just a duology. So if you've read this second book in this duology, let me know what you thought of it. Did I look at the ratings? Yeah, normal ratings. Yeah, that's all I need. I have no idea if this is good on audio, so if anybody knows, let me know. I'm always looking for audiobook recommendations because the books that I read, like the vast majority of the books that I read in a month are audiobooks. And then The Crown's Fate is another one that I was kind of unsure about. Yes, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson is on my to-read list. I have read, I think, the first book, The Way of Kings, already, like years and years ago. So I definitely need to reread it because it's been a long time. But he doesn't really have an end date for that. Like I hate reading series that aren't completed. I mean, I do it all the time. Obviously, we all do. But I am trying to focus on series that are completed so that I can potentially binge them and not like. So what I'm finding is that as I'm trying to finish up a lot of these series I'm in the middle of, I'm rereading a lot of books. And not that that's a waste of time or anything, but if you're rereading just so you can continue on in a series, like it takes away from other books that I could be reading. So I like to read series close together so that I don't have to reread books in the series. Oh, look, this one actually fails my rating test. I talked about this in my video that I made explaining my Goodreads shelves, because I have a shelf that I made with my own like special rating test. And basically I just looked to see between the 3-star and the 5-star bar, which one's bigger, because basically what I'm looking at is percentage of 5 plus 4 and 3 plus 4 and seeing what's higher. Anyways, so it doesn't mean at all that it's a bad book. It just means that in general, the ratings are a little bit lower than what I try. I don't know. It just helps me prioritize things. It gets lower priority if it fails my rating test. But it's like my own personal rating test that I made up. So it doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, this one I was a little bit on the fence about reading as well, but same situation as the last book I just talked about. It's just a duology, and I feel like I could finish it off and just like mark it complete in my like series spreadsheet and everything. So if anybody has read this one, let me know what you think about it. Into the Bright Unknown. This is a series that I have been loving. Oh, look at that. The 5 and 3 stars are exactly the same. That is so funny. I have really been loving this series, and I definitely want to listen to it on audio. I listened to the last 2 on audio, and they were really good. I'm going to class it as historical fiction. There's some magic in there, but I'm going to go with that. I definitely recommend this series if you guys haven't read it. It's, well, you probably know what it's about. I don't need to talk in depth or give synopsis on every book that I'm looking at in this like organization thing, because that would just take for so long. But I am super excited to read this, and I'm hoping to get to it soon. So this is definitely staying on the must read soon. This one, I'm not as antsy to read soon, actually. I think I originally had thought to keep all of my sequels that I need to read next on my must read soon shelf, just so that I don't forget about them. But this is like a loose sequel. It's not like a direct sequel. So I think I'm actually just going to put it on want to read, because I still think I want to read it. Just not necessarily something I need to read really soon. Maybe I'll read it like in the fall, because it's about a girl who washes dead bodies, and that's kind of like October-y, right? I did enjoy the first book. Furthermore, I mean, it's like a whimsical, like Alice in Wonderland-ish sort of world that was fun to read, but nothing like crazy exciting. So put that on the want to read shelf. Oh gosh. So this, here, let's open a few of these. So Book of Lies, I will say that I'm not super excited to read, but the reason why it's on the must read soon shelf is because this is one of those books that I requested an arc of from like Nick Alley or Edelweiss, and I never read it. It's still sitting on my Kindle somewhere. See, apparently I got it off Nick Alley. So I put those on my must. I need to catch up on them at some point. Where's my first? And this will be an arc if I ever read it. I don't know if I'm actually going to read it. If you guys have read Book of Lies, tell me, please, because I really am not excited about reading this, but I feel like I need to review it for NetGalley. I don't think I knew that. And is a book that I picked up from Y'all West last year, and I don't think it's an art-ished copy that they were giving out. Oh God. I'm looking at the broadcast and I'm just seeing my, like, oh, there we go. Maybe there was a quick delay. Sequel is out. Cool. But I don't think this is actually, this one. Look at it a little bit. I have no idea what this is about. I know, Kayla. I'm so I have like 10 that I've accumulated over the years that I haven't like bothered to read. And it's always like, oh, I'll just slip it in between this book and that book. And I just, a lot of times I'm just not that excited about them, which just means that I shouldn't have requested them in the first place. But it's so easy to get carried away. Hmm. This sounds interesting. Whoa. You hardly ever see um, do not finish or did not finish under genres. 37 people put it as did not. I mean, that's it's really not that many people when it comes to 604 reviews, but like, wow, you usually don't see that many people putting it on a shelf like that. Ooh, and this one definitely fails my rating test. Excuse me. Okay, so what we're going to do with this one is first I want to mark it as failed rating test. It does sound like it's a fantasy failed rating test. I don't think it's an arc. Well, and I got it from, they were just like giving them out. Okay. So I'm going to put this actually on my TBR maybe because I really haven't heard much about this book at all. Oops. I really haven't heard much about this book at all. So I'm just not sure how excited I am to read it. So I'm gonna put it on my maybe shelf and maybe one day I will hear more about it and want to read it. Okay, so that one's done. This is another one that I got. Oh, look, it also has its own did not finish shelf. Does that sound a little bit better, Shoshana? I think I had just had my hand in front of the mic. So I do have an arc of this, an e-arc. Yep, from NetGalley. So I'll probably keep it. It also fails my rating test though. And it sounds like fantasy. Okay, fantasy. Do you guys know anything about this book? Like if you liked it or didn't like it, let me know because I don't know anything about this. Oh, good. I'm glad the sound is better. Did I do failed rating test? No. I really wish I could put these shelves in their own order instead of having them be alphabetical because I have such a hard time finding books sometimes. Actually, I should also check to see if it's a Finnish series published 2018. Well, I guess that doesn't really matter because it's an arc and I have to read it no matter what. Okay, so we're done with that one. Quintana of Charin. Any fans of the Lumatier Chronicles here? Ooh, mostly 5 stars. I obviously have read the first 2 books and I enjoyed them, but I did not love them as much as everybody else does. Like this series has like a mad fandom and I don't love them as much. But I definitely was intrigued enough by the ending of the second book to want to read the next one. And this is the last, it's just a trilogy. So as soon as I read it, I can get it off my like series I'm in the middle of list, which will be nice. Okay. Midnight Star. Do it. Oh. So Brandy tells me that Waking Land by Callie Bates was meh. That is good to know. I put it on my maybe shelf. So I'm not excited about getting to it. Yeah, the Lumatier Chronicles are pretty character driven. I just have a hard time connecting with the characters for some reason, which is so weird because I've read William Marchetta's one of her contemporaries, and I'm going to read another one soon. Actually, that reminds me, I should make sure I have that on a list. How do I guess I can just do it up here. Piper's Son. Is that what it's called? Piper's Son? is a book that I pulled out of my TBR jar that I need to read, but I don't think I actually have on my shelves, like on my Goodreads shelves. Must read soon. Oh, good. It's on here. I just haven't gotten there yet. Because that's the shelf we're working soon. So yeah, it's weird that I connect to her characters in her contemporary, at least the one that I read. But I didn't, I don't know. I feel like her characters in the Lumiere Chronicles are just like really awkward and I just don't always understand them. And yeah, I just didn't connect to them at all. But the plot is super interesting and the world building is interesting. Still hooked. All right, Midnight Star. I definitely want to read this soon. I don't know why I've been waiting on this because the first 2 books were really good. And I think I'm going to listen to it on audio. I listened to the second one on audio and that was good. So I don't know if the narrator is the same or not, but this one I definitely want to read soon. It can stay on my must read soon shelf. And this one will also stay shelf because it's in the library. And although the due date for it is kind of coming up soon, but I definitely want to finish this duology. First one, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think I've come across a Victoria Schwab or V.E. Schwab, so I'm definitely a fan of hers. Oh man, I forgot about the series. So I read the first book in the series sometime last year, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I ended up really enjoying myself when I was reading this. It really surprised me. I don't think it's the covers. They kind of look cheesy and was it to be all that great, but I really like the first one, and the world is just like super interesting. You know, it's science fiction. It's science. There's also like magic in it, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Really enjoyed it. So it can stay on my must read soon shelf because I don't want to forget about. And this one is another NetGalley fail. I'm going to leave it on the so I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I think that we're going to be calling it a close soon because of all of these well, it's almost been an hour anyways, but all of these technical difficulties. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm sorry that we had so many technological difficulties. That's always a hard word to say. I'm gonna do some research and see if I can figure out a different way to do it. You guys who were here for part of it enjoyed what you did get to see. A monthly thing if I can. You like the sound of that or think that's not a good idea, you can tell me too. So you just have to call it a close at this point. Sharing worked a little bit better. I'm not sure what my other options are. If you guys know like another way to make this work, let me know, especially because I was also bummed about not being able to show my face while I was screen sharing. Like I thought that my face would be down in the corner and that you guys would be able to see it. It's just us to look at someone else's screen, you know? All right. From the chat, I can see that you guys are excited for next month. So hopefully it works a little bit better. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I had a lot of fun just chatting with you and going through my Goodreads shelf. I know we get that far already a little bit better, which was nice. So thanks for tuning in, and I guess until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.